reasonable suspicion. They have to prove you either committed a crime or are about to commit a crime, have committed a crime. If they can't do that, it's not necessary for you to identify shit. At that point, you gotta treat them like a regular person on the street. Just because they want to know who you are doesn't mean you have to know. You have to give them that information. When you do, it's called consent. Once you give consent, you are automatically under their jurisdiction because now you are following orders. You cannot be arrested, and it is not a crime to speak to the pigs in an aggressive manner. You should be aggressive and adverse. Remember, you have the power. Here's the proof in the pudding. Salute. You cannot be arrested, and it is not a crime to speak to the pigs in an aggressive manner. You should be aggressive and adverse. Remember, you have the power. Here's the proof in the pudding. Salute. Back at it with another one. Here we have SAP versus the state of Tallahassee. We can also look into Reef versus the city of Philadelphia. And we could also look at Lynch versus the North Carolina Department of Justice, where it will be very clear that the policy enforcers, peace officers, or police officers are only here to protect the corporation and arrest code breakers. Their duty is not to protect you. We have to understand that a lot of times these policy enforcers don't understand legal statutes versus common law of the land. Okay, they are here as workers, employees of a corporate business, and are only here to push their policy, not to protect you. Once again, you can look into SAP versus Tallahassee, Reef versus the city of Philadelphia, and Lynch versus the North Carolina Department of Justice. Peace. Now, when we look at the diversified metal products versus the IRS, when we look into CV section 93-405E-EJE, when we look into public law 94 to 564, when we look at the Senate report 94-1148, when we look at the bankruptcy reorganization plan number 26, or public law 102 to 391, it will clearly show us that the IRS is not a U.S. government agency. It is a debt collection agency of the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF. It is its own entity. And through ignorance, which is consent, we abide by whatever policy that they try to enforce. When you know better, you do better. Now, when we look at, according to the Internal Revenue Manual, which is also codified in Title 26 Internal Revenue Code, the definition of taxes under Title 31, labeled Money and Finances. The Secretary of the Treasury may accept, hold, administer, and use gifts and bequest property, both real and personal, for the purpose of aiding or facilitating the work of the Department of Treasury. Gifts and bequests of money and the proceeds from sales of other property received as gifts or bequests shall be deposited in the Treasury in a separate fund and shall be dispersed on the order of the Secretary of the Treasury. Taxes are voluntary. They are gifts to Washington, D.C. There is no need to transfer all hard-earned wealth to the United States corporation. This is according to the Internal Revenue Manual. Peace. Tillman versus Roberts. Winehammer versus the people. We are nothing but slaves and own nothing. We are vessels lost at sea. Look into your birth certificate. Peace. Now, when you read this, you'll realize that we own no property. Why? Because slaves cannot own property. Look into your juristic person. Look into your straw man in your birth certificate. Peace. Now, Collender versus Lawson. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that police officers cannot arrest you because you do not give them identification. That is an illegal arrest, which is an assault and battery, and yes, you can sue them.
and thou shalt know the universe and God. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God. God is the mother, the father, the friend. Know ye not that ye must be born again? What does it mean to be in the world but not of it? It means you want the cause, the cash, the jewels, the
Peace, family. I'm gonna make this quick. Hopefully you got your pen and pad. I'm putting it in a format to where it's easy to take notes and you can build your own library and your own book. What I want to talk about are lawyers, because we always say we need a lawyer, call a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. So check this out. When you hire a lawyer to represent you in court, that licensed bar member is prohibited from protecting your constitutional common law rights. He has taken an oath as an officer of the court. That's a military martial rule officer. And he is sworn to uphold the wishes of the state, not yours. Think about that. They owe their allegiance to the Crown of London, not to you. Okay? So think about it when we speak on lawyers and getting lawyers, what happened.